All right. All right. Sandra,
Yes, sir.
we are live.
Yes.
If you able to even share, if you share on your Facebook, if you're able to, the link to the
Okay.
video, a lot of people can see it from that end too as well. But man, I'm really excited. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you. I'm excited to check in with you, actually.
Same.
I shouldn't even say conversation, I should say checking in. I'm super excited for this conversation, but I know a little bit about you, but for those who don't know who you are, who is Sandra?
Hmm. So, generally speaking, basically, like I'm a freelance writer. I write about music, arts, and culture. I've been doing it for quite a few years now, and slowly but surely, I've grown and matured in my voice and what I write about, and basically covering like upcoming hip hop artists in Buffalo, New York. I basically started out with Sneakvibing a long time ago, back in college, where I was just like covering artists that I'm interested in, like underground artists that I feel like need to get more attention, or mainstream artists too. That like if I have an opinion about them or whatever, I would share that. So that slowly turned into me writing about local artists because I started to really branch out and go to local events and stuff. And I realized there's so much talent here. And at the same time, I was starting to embrace Buffalo more. So it was divine timing, really, as things started to change in my life and jobs and situations and family, where I was able to really grasp onto the opportunity of writing and talking about culture, art, and music in Buffalo, which is exciting for me because I get to discover Buffalo.
Wow, it's so many questions just in that statement alone.
Yeah,
Wow. Um, let's start from the beginning. Let's do that.
sure.
Where did this love and passion of music come from?
So I think this is now looking back now, it's crazy like how my childhood was. So my dad is from the Bronx. My
Okay.
mom is from New
Yeah.
Rochelle. So they're both from New York City. They're city folk. Like they even to this day they have like city characteristics about them.
Yeah.
But basically, my dad was a DJ in the Bronx, and for a while he was really working up in the ranks, like really DJing like really high profile parties and stuff, and doing his thing like back in late 80s, early 90s. My mother, she was part of like the local government in New Rochelle, so they were both doing their thing, and then both of them became Christians. So they became Christians in the church. They went to the same church. They end up getting married and stuff. And at the time, my dad, he was still really into music, and he realized like the youth. He was really passionate about youth. Same thing with my mother, very passionate about youth, and really reaching out to the young people of color in the community that they felt like needed God and stuff like that. So my dad, being a hip hop lover, he really got into Christian hip hop. And at the same time, you got to think you have like Kirk Franklin blowing up, CC, BB Winan, so that Mary Mary, so that gospel explosion that happened in the late 90s, my dad wanted to be a part of that. So
Mm.
they really got into street ministry. So my mom would be preaching and ministering. My dad would be on the turntables playing Christian hip hop music.
Wow.
And yeah, they were really involved in it. And then they well this is after they got married and everything and they had me, they moved to Buffalo, and that's when they really got involved in it. So they were really into street ministry, and so I grew up listening to Christian hip hop. Like that's my childhood. So I have an interesting perspective on music just in general because I grew up listening to just uplifting music, generally speaking, of all genres. But at the same time, my dad was still a DJ, and he came up, 70s, 80s. So I grew up with a lot of Michael Jackson, with a lot of
Good time
Sugar
for
Hill
music.
Gang. Huh?
70s, 80s. 70s, 80s is a good time for music. For sure.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I was born in the 80s. Still to this day, I wish I was born in the 80s because the music there was just it was just so fun and experimental at that time. But yeah, so I grew up with, Christian on one side and then like old school music. So for a time, like I would say I was a little disconnected to like music in the early 2000s, but as we got older, preteen and stuff, our parents kind of became a little lenient, let us listen to music that we wanted to.
What they
And,
call
as we got older and,
it?
huh?
What they call it? Secular music?
Yeah, yeah. There was a time when it was kind of like strict. There was certain things we couldn't watch, like we couldn't watch Pokemon, Harry Potter, anything with like, sorcery, whatever. But as
Yeah.
soon as I was old enough, I started watching that stuff. So that's me. But I'm also a pop culture nerd, so it
Right.
makes sense. So yeah. So as we got older, we got involved more in all our our own taste and stuff. And I'm the oldest of five.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
yeah. So
Pressure's
we're a
on,
big
right?
family, huh?
The pressure is on a little bit, huh?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm the oldest of five, so we're a big family. So um, just us being together. I just grew up around very like uh, uh, I feel like for most of my life a very wholesome family, very Christ centered family. Look back now, I'm like just so grateful. Had both parents in the house,
Yeah.
so it was a really nice balance. As we got older, things started to change. My mom, she be ordained as a pastor,
Oh, okay.
so then
Cool.
she ran her own church. But in some communities they don't appreciate women being leaders. So she kind of broke out of the four walls and just had a church where she would do ministry on street corners. My parents have always been about that. They're not really about they're Christian, but they're unconventional at the same time.
Mm.
They're not really into the four walls and all the tradition and stuff. They're about really reaching out and touching lives and helping and blessing people. So those morals passed down too, which I really appreciate. But as I got older, my parents ended up separating when I was in high school and stuff, and we went through kind of, different transitions and stuff like that. But I think around that same time, really figuring out my identity and a bunch of other
Yeah.
things too. I really got into music, and it was really in college where I really started to embrace hip hop music and R&B music, because there was a time where I don't know, I couldn't connect with R&B music, and I don't know, I think
Really?
certain stereotypical thing. Yeah, it's a long. I'm someone that's like super analytical,
Talk to me.
and for a long time I struggled with identity because we also went to private Christian schools,
Oh,
and the
okay.
private Christian schools we went to were predominantly white. So then when we get in middle school, we go to a predominantly black school in the city of Buffalo. So then I have to deal with the identity stuff. So
Mm.
Christianity, then my blackness, then as I got older, womanhood, like all these things. I think identity has always been such a significant thing for me, and finding my identity in the things I love. So music and culture for me has been a way for me to develop my adulthood, develop my identity. Like people like Issa Rae have been huge. When she had her internet show Awkward Black Girl, that like touched my heart. I felt seen.
Mm.
So things like that like really play a huge part in my life and how I've developed and how my voice has developed. So with that being said, as I got older, I started to realize I have strong opinions about music. And then when I went to Buff State, I started writing for the Record almost immediately. So I was
Okay.
writing for the culture section and stuff. So I remember I would talk about certain topics, or it was more culture focused though. Um, so I realized I was really into that. And then as time passed by, I got internships at WNY Muslims talking about like um, international affairs and things going on in Somalia and all these different places, and then also interning at the Public and writing for their music section.
Wow.
So they would cover like alternative artists, local alternative artists in Buffalo and things like that, and doing like previews. So as time went by, I realized I have a strong voice, and college was really when one of my friends was like, start a blog, because she had her own blog. So I was like, yeah, I can do this. So long story short, I started a blog, Sneakvibing, and that was just covering like artists I like. And then I think I would say late 2018 was when I really had the shift where I started going out to local events and stuff, and I started embracing Buffalo because I think the year prior I went to New York City, and I think I had a little bit of a childish mindset. I just felt like if I moved to New York City, something would happen, and it didn't.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
it slapped me in the face. And when I came back, I just got really focused. I got a good job. I started working. I got my own place, and I became super focused. And I started going out to local events and realizing I'm trying to like branch out when there's so many gems and so many amazing people here.
Yeah.
So that's when I really started to shift Sneakvibing a little bit more to covering local artists. And since doing that, so many opportunities have come our way. It's crazy how people have reached out.
And we gonna
Yeah,
save it. Hold on, save it. We gonna dive
yeah. Okay, yeah.
into it.
That's a good place to stop.
Yes, because you give us a lot. I
Yeah.
honestly kind of circle back to Luke. Let's dive deep and early to the identity situation. I feel like
Mm,
everyone has to deal with that. I think even for myself, I was going through a situation where I'll be honest. I was having a conversation with a friend where at a time where I felt like black women didn't like me, but that was in a mindset of
wow.
um, I would say middle school, a little early high school, only because I felt like okay, identity crisis. I'm a chubby black kid at the time. Um,
Chubby
you know,
black kids stand up.
yeah, come on, and and I was always that friend type, the friend. And I'm like, but the only person that would give me that type of attention would be a white girl. And
Mm,
so at a point, I started to feel like I was having almost an identity crisis in a sense because now, okay, uh, the only women that are attracted to me are white women, but then also at the same time, I'm getting called I'm white because I speak.
mm.
So that was a big thing. Like, am I not black enough? You just mentioned it. I think you said you was having a problem of understanding your blackness. Like
Yeah.
that's struggling sometimes. And I went to a private elementary for a little bit, and then went to a public elementary too. But I always was surrounded by, uh, a little bit diversity in a sense, but predominantly white. So
Yeah.
talk to me a little about. I know I went on a rant, but talk to me a little about
No, that's a
uh,
good point.
how did you how did you find that light or that perseverance throughout that process?
Whew, whew. So I think now getting older, I realized what I was experiencing was not an isolated incident. For the longest time, I felt like I was the only one experiencing this because no one else was talking about it. That's
Mm.
why that's why being visible, that's why when Issa had awkward black girl, I was like, yes. Because no one I cannot be the only black woman experiencing this. But it was so hard for me for such a long time, because the way we grew up, first we grew up like Christian, so we grew up kind of sheltered in a way, and we weren't exposed to a lot of things. And then growing up in predominantly white spaces, um, I think we lived a certain way. We had a certain way about ourselves, and a lot of times it felt like it came at a disadvantage when I was in predominantly black spaces. So for to a certain degree, when I was younger, I would be nervous to be in predominantly black spaces because I don't know how they would receive me. And it's not because I'm trying to be like bougie or whatever, because I've gotten that too bougie, which I'm so far from that. I'm basic, really, but that I guess that kind of comes off, and I try to be, I don't know, it's changed now. It's definitely changed. People are more receptive. I feel
Yeah.
like in the last few years black women have really come together supporting each other, and I love that. Like, I love it. It's like my lifeline. And
Do
then
you?
also,
I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think another thing too is I realized recently, I was telling one of my friends, I don't know why I struggled with black womanhood so much because I grew up with four other sisters.
Mm.
So I don't know why it was so, now thinking all my other sisters are black women. I don't know why it was so hard for me, but I also think about the fact that I'm the oldest. So there's a certain responsibility, certain expectation,
Yeah.
and certain things my sisters could do, I couldn't do because. So a lot of that comes to mind, but I feel like really my eyes opened in college, and just getting connected with music, shows, culture, people. I would really say I really had a close friend in college that she was like a major support system for me. We would have conversations and stuff that I never had with anybody. So
Wow.
I feel like for me, college, the beginning of college was really like a turning point where I came into my own and I started to understand my identity more and not be so nervous.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think I got to uh, I became more confident within myself. I would say halfway of high school, but really toned into the person, the man that I want to be, and want the world to perceive me as. And honestly, um, tap into something that I don't think I would have tapped into if I didn't go to college. And
Mm,
that's a mental aspect of it when I say that. But I totally agree. You know, I like having those conversations with my peers too. Even I still close to my college friend to this day, and we still have those conversations that may be challenging to have or
mm,
or difficult to have. Period. Um, but we still had that conversation and we challenge one another, and that's why I enjoy it and also see different perspective because going to college, I was exposed to more Black people, not just people from my own city. I'm born and raised in
that was an. I'm
and,
sorry. Oh, go
um,
ahead.
so I say I was born and raised in Niagara Falls,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I got exposed to a different type of Blackness. You know, I'm meeting people in college that know who they are. I didn't know who I'm. My mom from Mississippi. My dad's side of his family, his side of the family from Alabama. That's a beast. That's the least I know. That's all I know.
Mhm.
But I meet these friends that I'm Jamaican, or I'm Haitian, or I'm Caribbean.
Yes.
This, I'm that.
You got like New York transplants and stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I'm Black, and that was Sandra. That was difficult for me for a while in college alone
Mm.
because I started challenging my Blackness. Like, yo, am I like Black enough? I can't really say I'm from a island. I can't say I'm from a different. I'm from Niagara Falls. I'm just Black. My mom from the
Yeah.
South. That's about it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I like this conversation.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation. I feel like in that arena, the funny part about it is that we had a really close family friend we call Mother Dear.
Mm,
She's been with us since like we were kids. My mom and her met when we were young, when they used to do outreach ministry, and she was one of the people. And she loves kids. She's like one of those older ladies that always have kids with her and stuff. So we really grew up with her. But as I got older, she became our relationship got really deep and we became very close, especially when I was in college. And she's from Jamaica. So and my mom always said, because my dad and my dad's side of the family is very dark skinned, very strong features. So there's this rumor that potentially like we're Geechee or Gullah people or whatever. So that kind of always stayed with me. So I know like
mm.
somewhat of where we come from. And our last name is so unique. So I know it.
Pronounce it actually. Pronounce it for me, because
It's pronounced like the letter H. It's just H.
wait, is this H?
Just pronounce it like the letter H. Chandra
Sounds-
H. Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
How do you never? I'm glad you brought that up. Now I
Yeah.
know.
People say itch, atch, iatic. They try all different type of stuff. I'm used to it by now.
I had to.
They be trying hella hard to pronounce that word, and I just stare at them, let them try.
So, so you're in the Buffalo scene.
Mm.
Uh, who inspired you to become the writer that you are today?
Ooh. You know what? And this is the crazy part. This is where I feel like everybody has, something kind of magic, their story about how they came up. I think with me, when I was at Bus State, I ended up not being able to finish Bus State, so I ended up going to ECC. And at that time, I was dating this guy, and he was like pushing me, like intern, right? Like intern, just write, just there's so many opportunities, just do it, just do it. And that's how I got the internship at the Public. That's how I got the internship at WNY Muslims, because I just kept I just kept going, just kept reaching out, like I need to keep going.
Mhm.
So even though, and we did not last a long time, but even though that just small time, that moment in time was like a really pivotal moment because he was really pushing me to like just keep going, keep writing, and stuff like that. So I can really say he was a huge part of that. And I think I kind of started pushing myself too. I became confident that, oh wow, I'm capable of this. And I just kept inching and going on. I didn't just want to sit and not do anything. So I just kept going. And I think really just it showed me that just pushing myself, people see that and then they gravitate towards it and they want to be involved in what you're doing or they want your talents to be contributing on what they're doing, which is
Yeah.
rewarding in itself. So, but I think I always had a strong voice. I was always obsessed with ELA, language arts in high school, middle school, college. Always a good in those arenas. So I know that was like my shtick. I always knew I was good at that.
Now, how did you put the two together? How did you put your love to writing into to like the music aspect? Like, how did you know that that's what you wanted to like kind of persevere into?
Mm, I think it was a slow progression
Mm,
because in college I started my blog and I was writing. At first I was writing about myself and things I was going through, but I don't know, I just felt like every girl is doing that, blogging about like their their personal issues or whatever, which I mean I'm not to go against that, but
okay, no, I hear you.
I feel like it's a dime a dozen a little bit sometimes when it comes to that. But also another passion of mine was just writing about music and like just being excited about the music community. You have to think like Summer 16, 2014, those were huge years and huge strides in
Um,
music. So it makes sense that around that time when we were having that huge pop music explosion of
yeah,
just everything, that I had a blog and was writing about these artists and writing about how excited I am about them, or if I have an opinion about them, or issues or drama in wherever, talking about that, lightly touching on it. So it makes sense. And then as time went on, especially when I started writing at the Public, writing about like local artists and previews and like listening to all these different artists' music and stuff, it was kind of exciting, And these a lot of the artists I was reviewing were or previewing were
yeah.
local artists. Now they weren't like really my genre, which is hip hop and R&B. But I feel like I'm really open to all genres. I wouldn't even say I have a prime genre, but just listening to their music and realizing, oh, we have amazing instrumentalists and musicians here. That kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and I think I don't know, it was just the choice moment. 2018, I went to a Buffalo bloggers meeting because there's a bunch of bloggers in Buffalo, and when I went to that meeting, um, it just was inspiring to see all of these writers, specifically lady writers, women
Mm,
writers, like writing about things in Buffalo, all different type of things. And so I got connected with Queen City. That they were a huge um, turning point for me too. Christy Mango, who's the editor of Queen City and created it, she's like a comedic writer, but she basically created a webzine, which is like an online magazine covering women in Buffalo doing things. So female business owners, female
wow.
artists, singers, and everything. And so when I got involved in that and I started going to local venues and stuff, that really just opened my eyes like, whoa, like we have so much talent here. And the rest is really history. I feel like I really just started to discover Buffalo for myself, and I wanted to document and record this, and seeing what the Public is doing with the rock and alternative community, and seeing that the hip hop community in Buffalo, there's really no solid like publication covering it, was
Yeah.
kind of like shocking to me. So I think that's where my passion and the need really like combined.
And I know because I messed up my question. I said you in the Buffalo scene. Then I switched to a whole different question. But now this is a good
Mm-hmm.
segue going to the question I was trying to go into.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in the Buffalo scene, and you getting to meet these different artists.
Mm-hmm.
Who have you been? Who have you written about? And what would you say is some of your favorite conversation that you had so far?
Ooh, who have I written about? obviously Morrow, he was a great interview. So shout out to y'all, shout out to Air Quality, because everything y'all do is just, I feel like you guys just are like a family, but you guys are also so professional, which is nice. And seeing Black men do it is just like exciting and like, yes. So I
Yo,
love that.
yo, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank
Give
you,
your
real.
flowers now, you know? Yeah, so Marl was, that was a memorable one. The recent one I did, Gaines, that was a super memorable one. He had a quote where he said, at one point he was a better artist and he was a man, and he realized he had to step his game up. And I was like,
Wow.
whoa. I literally marinated on that for a day.
Come
I've
on.
never heard a rapper say that, you know, because, and I've dealt with, you know, rappers and you know, men, their egos are kind of like, you know, big or whatever, which I can understand it. It kind of, I'm used to it now. I'm used
Yeah.
to it now. At first it was kind of like, okay, whatever. But I'm used to it now, and I just try to push the conversation towards the art and really what really pushes them to do music and keep going. Because, you know, you can have success, but the consistency of it is what I really respect about the game and just music. So that was really a memorable conversation, and it was quite brief, but
Sandra, I'm sorry. That's still alone. That line alone is still like sitting here right now.
yeah,
I only can imagine you just sitting there, just doing your thing, and it's just like, what he just say? Like what?
yeah.
But go ahead. Who's next? Who else? Sorry. Wow.
Um, who else? I'm trying to think who else was like really memorable. Um, I did an interview with 14 Trap Doors. I don't know if you know them, but they're like they're like three white guys, but they all rap really well, and they all kind of have like a different style about them. I don't know if you know them, but they're
No.
like they're well known in the city, and I love their style and I love their disposition because they kind of give me obviously like a Beastie Boys vibe a little bit, but they're so like there's something so creative and whimsical and also very confrontational about them. And I actually went to their like space to interview them, like on the west side of Buffalo. I went to their space where they live and they record and stuff, and it was just interesting being like in their space and really getting to see their personalities. So that was definitely a memorable one. I'm trying to think of other interviews that I've had because there's quite a few, so I don't
Yeah.
want to miss anyone.
Sneakvibing has been moving.
Yeah. Yeah, it really has been moving for real, for real. Um,
They're doing
I'm
their thing.
trying to think.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Loki want to go on my blog and be like, "Who have I interviewed? Who have I interviewed?" Another one I have to say was Hefe Boss Up.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he's another one that like really after interviewing him really blew me away because you know we make these. I was talking to another rapper that kind of had like something like this alive, and he was asking me like, "Who's an artist that from Buffalo that you really see going?" And I said Hefe Boss Up. And the reason why I said Hefe Boss Up is because I think for a lot of people in Buffalo and people that might look at his social media stuff, he seems kind of controversial because he's very confrontational, very out there, but he's also very genuine. And after interviewing him and knowing his story and where he came from, um, it was just a reminder that we don't know what people have been through. We don't know how they develop the personality they have.
So,
And it just gave me so much more respect for him. And even though he might be different or very outspoken, I really appreciate the way he supports. I've seen him the way he supports artists when he collaborates with artists, the way he pushes his music, the way he's consistent with his music, and he really is a hard worker and he's dedicated to the voice and the personality and the brand he puts out there. So I feel like he's definitely one that'll blow up soon because he has everything to be like a sensational personality and an artist talent too. So Hefe Bossip
and
was another very interesting interview.
I have to just echo what you said. I don't have a personal relationship, but we have met on several occasions,
Mm-hmm.
and each of those occasions, genuine
Yeah,
guy, funny too, but genuine.
yeah,
It's not like, oh, it's a fake type of vibe. It's a genuine vibe each time. And
Right.
you're always showing love. And I totally agree with you. I see my mans in people comments, just saying stuff, congratulations, or shout out to you, or as emoji or something. Like I give it to you. I would echo and co-sign to exactly what you said. I shout out to FA Boss Up.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Papa John. What?
Yeah.
You gotta give it to him.
Yo,
Another
that
one
music video, like, man.
that video was as hell. And another one that I enjoyed that you did was Kane Wade.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. How could I forget about him? He's another personality. Like, man, he's so honest. He's like painstakingly honest. It's like, whoa, do you want that on the record? Like some stuff I was just like, but I appreciate that because it's when you're an artist, I realize too, like, because the hip hop game is so like normal now, we don't recognize the fact that a lot of these artists, they have to be so transparent and honest in their music and their personality. Like, that can be a really hard thing. I don't even know if I would be able to do that because you have to bear so much and you have to have so much feeling and show that vulnerability on stage when you're performing and everything you do. So I appreciate that. But yeah, Kane Wave was another definitely memorable interview, and he was great, and he really put me on and taught me a lot just about the music community here in Buffalo, because I'm always learning too. I don't know everything
Right.
whatsoever, but it's exciting just to like learn bits and pieces, and like putting a puzzle together when you start talking to all these different artists, like they know this person and this person.
I would
So
say Kane Wade is a well-connected individual when it comes to the music.
yeah.
I definitely give that to him. And now a person who I met several occasions, actually, chat with. Now that's another genuine person, genuine, cool guy.
Yeah.
Cool guy. I actually met him one time when he came up to Fredonia one time, and he actually performed at one of our talent shows. And I seen the progression, excuse me, in his talent and his artistry. And bro, especially when him and Mauro finally got together and did a project together, that's where just like, bro, like come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Like
Yeah.
man, Sandra, you're doing your thing. I think I think I told you already,
Thank
you are needed for the culture. You are somebody that's needed in this area for the culture. So it's not just about the artists, ain't about the business, the people that write about what's going on and able to portray that story. And you able to do that. And I have read most of your your blog, so I have seen the consistency.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How you can actually put words, but also allow the reader to actually picture the conversation too in a way as well. So shout out to you. Usually I have this conversation later on, but I had to let you know in this moment because I think what you're doing is just awesome. And Sneakvibing is just it's only up. It's really only up, and I think you continue to create those connections. People be coming to you like, yo, can you write it? And you're like, nah,
it's already happening. And I'm trying to like figure out it's more of like prioritizing time management and all of that. And that's another thing I'm thankful for, because your talent and your gift really does make way for you, but it also helps you elevate and mature and become more of a productive person. I think in the last year, I've really learned to be like more productive, try to be more efficient. I'm still working on it, nowhere near where I need to be. But I see that in order for me to even start to elevate, because I'm seeing what's happened now. Yeah. So I know in order for me to elevate, I need to like get on the game. So I'm really in the transition of now really just growing and becoming more productive and effective.
So, I think that's a good segue. Talk to me a little about what's next for you.
Yeah, so right now, I'm freelancing like with the Challenger News, like which another huge moment. I've wanted to write for the Challenger for such a long time, because you think I've been writing. I would say I've really been like writing for real, the last like 4-5-ish years. So like, and from the beginning, I always had my eye on the challenger. So to realize that, you know, I reached out to them a couple times and it really never happened. But then Leah, the editor, reached out to me asking me, hey. So that was really exciting for me. And now I kind of like forged a wonderful relationship with them, and having them like support me is just
Wow.
amazing. It's historic Black newspaper. Like, how it doesn't get any better than that. So
Right.
like, writing about um, amazing people in Buffalo, Adri V. Like Leah
Come on.
literally wanted me to write about Adri V, knowing like the connection with music and women in music and stuff. So that was amazing. Getting to know Adri V's story. Like, she's interned for CNN and BET and met all
Yeah.
these wonderful personalities. It's like, whoa, like, and she's from Buffalo and she's a personality for WBOK. Like, I didn't know this, you know. So it's discovery for me. And then recently writing about Scoville TV, Buffalo's black owned only streaming service in Buffalo. Like, that's exciting, and seeing everything that they're doing. So getting to write about these
Call again one more time.
Scoville TV.
I think I heard that. Yes, that sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
So they're doing their thing. They're kind of like a Netflix, but for Buffalo. So anything, they have like a lot of local events that's happened in Buffalo in the last few years. They have it on their platform, so you can watch it and kind of be a part of it. But they also have like movies made in Buffalo and by directors from Buffalo, but they also have stuff from everywhere. They have like stuff from Russia, Nigeria. So it's exciting to see what they're doing too. But really for me, it's just keep branching out. I think this is a time of making connections and branching out with people. I'm doing freelance stuff for Buffalo Music and Arts. Another amazing person, Lindsay. Everything that he's doing. He's a real estate agent, but he's also like has deep connections in the music community here, and just being a socialite in Buffalo. So him and just connecting with artists, like it's just so many opportunities. People invite me to listening parties. Like, I recently went to when Conway had Jay Skis and Love the Genius. They had a listening party downtown, and just being in that room,
Come on, Sandra.
like crazy. And it's like, whoa, this is like really, like, you see them on social media, but seeing them in that room and having the artist actually reach out to me and say, hey, I want you to be there or whatever, and seeing people that you know. And when I went there, I saw Adri V. When I went there, I saw Shay Noor, who I wrote for, and Love the Genius, who I wrote for a year ago. So it's seeing all these people that you've contributed to in your little way, and seeing what they're doing, and then everybody's elevating together. So it's just exciting. It really is. It really is.
It is. No, I genuinely feel the energy, even from the computer, because I know I understand that feeling. I really do understand that feeling where even from let's say, put it in a different perspective. Now, I knew someone who was working with Love the Genius early on and got to go to an early listening party. I think one of the best listening parties I personally went to so far. And just see that vibe and even use the opportunity to connect. This is where I meet Creative Connect in person. Never knew who Alex was until I seriously like, yo, you Creative Connect? It just hit it off since then. And every time I see him, it's genuine love too as well. And then Shay Noor, a lot of people don't know I went to high school with Shay Noor. So we are good friends.
Oh wow, yeah. She's a
and we have worked together on a music capacity several times on the business standpoint side as well. But and just seeing her just each year, she just continued to inspire. And it just like,
yeah,
it's inspiring because it's somebody that you know who deserves it, you know, who
right.
And not trying to gate for anybody else that you mentioned. Me personally knowing that individual personally,
right.
It's definitely inspiring. And so, Sean, I definitely hear you on that. For real. That's that's love right there. And then I just love the Genius period as an artist because like what? Like what? There's no one sounds like her. I don't care who you say. There's no one that can deliver just the way she. The last song she put out, what she said?
Break Soul, yeah.
I'm not even gonna embarrass myself because I but yes, and then even Shade dropped her project in November.
Yeah.
Man, I can't tell you, but she's working on something. I can't tell you, but it's gonna be, it's to a point where she couldn't tour last year because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, okay, I can't tour. Okay, I got something in the bag for y'all. That's all I gotta say. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And you
I'm
definitely, you
excited.
know, as a fan, as a hip hop nerd, like you said, you definitely appreciative. Love it.
I
But
appreciate that. I'm
so
excited to just contribute to it. So yeah.
yeah, you the what is it they call it? You said culture connoisseur.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that, by the way.
Culture connoisseur, aka hip hop's corniest fan.
You
Yeah.
said 20th fan?
Hip hop's corniest fan. And I put that in there because I realized I think I can be a little hyper aware sometimes. But I think I realized that, when I start talking about music and stuff, I realize sometimes people will look at me like, who are you? Like, what the heck? So I realized that, I might come in an unassuming package, but then when I start talking, people are like, okay, who is this girl? So I feel like I just want to present myself in a way where I'm just being me. Like I I want people
So
to realize like I'm a little quirky. I'm very strongly opinionated. So kind of putting those two together, I just feel like I wanted something that kind of I grabs people's attention, but also lets them know that there's something a little different. So
you better walk in every room as you are,
that's how I do it.
because
That's how I've gotten this far. I can only be me. In the words of
right
Mary J.
there,
Blige,
right there, come
I can only be me.
right there. And
Right.
honestly, it took me a little while to just get there. I think I think 2019, I would say I finally got to that place where I had to be comfortable. And believe it or not, it actually was a
Yeah.
conversation with Mauro and also with Kima, who runs the business too as well.
Yeah.
Um, it was a point of vulnerability. That's why I enjoy Mauro. That's why I love Mauro, I should say, because he's not only a person I manage, but that's really my brother. Blood can't make us any thicker. That's what I appreciate about him, because we definitely been through a lot, and I definitely the overprotective brother.
Mhm.
But where am I going with this? I definitely no. Where am I going with this?
You had to
uh,
get that off your chest, so that's a good thing.
yeah, nah, yeah, managing Mauro, good
Mhm.
relationship. Really forgot where I was going with that story. People gonna listen to this later on, like, yo, what kind of
What?
interview is this?
No,
He
but
left the
I have to say, Mauro it was great interviewing him because he's just so open. I think a lot of times with male artists specifically, that especially rappers sometimes and sometimes producers too, but I would say mostly rappers, like and just anybody in the industry, like when you start to interview them and you want to know more about them, sometimes they can be kind of guarded or give one word answers and stuff, and it's like, I'm trying to capture you. I'm trying to let people know who you are, because people want to know, you want to be rich and famous. Like, people need to know who you are and understand who you are. So sometimes that can be hard, but Marl was just like really open and really just sharing the details of his music and stuff. So I always appreciate that because it makes it a little easier on me and trying to capture like who the person is and what they want their music to be. So yeah, Mara was definitely a memorable interview, just like Hefe Boss Up, Kane Wave 2. It's just when artists can be honest and transparent, I really appreciate that.
And it took a minute for him to get there. It took a while for him to be comfortable in his artistry too. I know he was just talking about, I think last week, just how he said, talking about management, and and I was just joking around. I said, I quit. Quit just joking around. And he said, no, no, no. He said, "Nah, I am not about to get no new manager now." He was like, he said, "Cause you know how long it took for me to be comfortable trying to play y'all music. I don't want no other people come in. You know, it's gonna take longer for me to play music."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those relationships. But I finally figured out what the hell we was talking about. See how it came back. It came back.
Yeah.
It came back. But
That's
it's a good thing. It was coming from a place of just, showing appreciation. But anyways, I really want to dive deep before I forget. For those who have not watched Game of Thrones, yeah, we about to get this, Sandra.
Here we go.
There's no smooth intro into that one. We're gonna dive. So I've been a fan. I want to say after season 3 or almost after season 3, I think came out, and that's when I started watching it regularly. I was 3 seasons behind, so I got hooked, Sandra. I got hooked since day one. From the first episode, dude falling from the thing because he saw a brother and sister, in their little thing. So, what's your thoughts?
So, this is the funny part. I started hearing about, when did I start Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones has been around for a long time because same thing with Harry Potter, I feel like. There's just things going on in that I was just not connected to. But it kind of reminded me of like when everybody was watching Harry Potter, but we weren't allowed to watch it, so we didn't know what was going on until later. But yeah, I would hear people talk about Game of Thrones, and I wasn't really personally interested in it, but I remember I tried to watch.
You always start with that. That's funny. Everybody like, no, I'm not really into it because, real quick, because I'm gonna let you finish. When somebody explains Game of Thrones, people always start with incest and dragons. That doesn't get nobody to want to watch a show unless you sick. Like
unless you sick, yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm sure a lot of people say that about any show that gets crazy popular or just really people get really involved. But yeah, so I tried to watch it. I remember I attempted to watch it. And here's the thing about me. I'm not even old yet. I'm 26, but I feel like ever since I turned like 25, when I'm watching movies, I start to get sleepy. When I'm watching shows, I start to get sleepy. So watching Game of Thrones, and it was good. From the first like 20 minutes, I knew it was going to be a good show, but I was asleep. Like it's bad. I just fall asleep. It's really bad unless I'm really, really into it. So the funny part is that a friend of my younger sister, a friend of mine's younger sister goes to Buff State, and she had to stay with me for a week before she could go in her dorms. And this was like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. She was here. So she stayed with me for a week, and she's really into Game of Thrones. So she was like, Schondra, watch Game of Thrones with me. She's watched it, I think, twice.
Shout out. What's her name?
Michelle. Yeah.
Shout out to Michelle. You a true winner. Shout out to you. Right, go ahead.
So she would literally hit me if I fell asleep because I'm the type of person that will knock out in a second. It doesn't take long for me to fall asleep. So I ended up watching it, and I think by the 3rd or 4th episode, I really got interested. Like, whoa, this is good. The power plays, the dynamics and stuff is really good. And then I kept going. By the time she left, because it was a week, so we were watching a couple episodes every night. So I think by the time she left, I was maybe at the end of season 2, I think, maybe, or something like that. So by the time she left, I was into it. I was dedicated. Good. I was committed. So I started watching it. So yeah, for the last 3 weeks, it's been Game of Thrones, and I just finished the last episode today. So yeah, but I will say the most interesting part about Game. First of all, when watching it, I saw a lot of parallels to the Bible. So I think that kind of piqued my interest because a lot of things that happened reminded me of Bible stories. And then Michelle was telling me, because Michelle's like a Game of Thrones nerd. She was telling me, oh yeah, they took the writer who wrote the book. I didn't even know these were books either. It kind of what makes me read the books now, because I'm sure You know, they say books are always better.
The prequel coming. Hold on. Because I got the. I had to show you.
Oh, you got the collection.
In the year.
Wow.
This is the prequel. Fire and Blood. This is when.
That's the prequel.
Yes. This is when the dragon actually, like when the Targaryens was really ruling with their dragon. That's supposed to come out, I think, 2022 next year. So I'm trying to read this thick ass book by the end of the year.
That's one thing I got to work on reading. I used to read like nobody's business when I was a teenager. Now it takes me forever to finish a book.
Yeah, I got 706 pages to get done before the year's up.
Oof.
I can do 100 a month.
Yeah. If I read it, I probably would get really interested too. So.
Yeah. Well, I started reading during the pandemic a little bit more. I started reading. I didn't finish the book, but Black Like Me. I finished Charlotte the Main book. I finished How to Be a Badass. This is like a self-empowerment book. And then I was trying to read, I think, White Fragility. But I didn't get that far because life started happening and I couldn't read anymore. they let us a little bit outside a little bit during that time.
And yes, and she was like, "Well."
Speaking of pandemic, how did you, as a writer, find inspiration during this time?
I was excited when the okay. Let me rephrase.
I never heard anybody say that.
let me rephrase this. One thing, I was just having a conversation with somebody last week, and I was telling them, like, I feel like the theme of my story is late bloomer. I'm a late bloomer in everything, literally everything, and I think it's a gift and a curse. Because sometimes I can be hard-headed a little bit, and it takes me time to learn certain things or understand certain things. But I lost where I was going with this. What were we talking about? What were we talking about? Now it happened to me. Now you affected me across the screen here. What was I talking about?
You was talking about how you found inspiration in writing during the pandemic.
Okay, yes, it brought me back. Came back to me. Thank you. So I always feel like I'm behind in certain things. So when the world slowed down, I felt like, oh, I can catch up. So I started putting like more work into Sneakvibing, like really tending to my Buffalo Code playlists. And I was working for a little bit, but I ended up getting another job, and then this is the first year. Last year was the first year I've been on unemployment because I've worked my whole young adult life. So that was kind of helpful to kind of like help me really focus just on my art and what I want to do. And so now this transition going back to work life and stuff, that I'm really trying to figure that out, because really for most of 2020, I really had a little more free time, still doing family stuff and trying to figure certain things out. But I definitely had way more free time to really focus on my blog and stuff. So now that things are picking back up, I really have to figure out how to prioritize what needs to get done. So that's what I'm in the process of learning now. But yeah, for me, when the pandemic first hit, I mean, and I was excited in the fact that, you know, people are dying, people are getting sick from this. But it's like, oh, okay, everything's slowing down. Now I can kind of catch up. Now I can kind of figure out what I want to do. Because really when Sneakvibing really started going, I was working at Geico. And Geico is kind of like it's a demanding job. I worked in the home insurance department. So, and I'm working like 9-hour, 8-hour shifts every day and coming home and being tired, but I still have to write about this person, get rough draft to this person, let this person read this over, then finalize, add certain things. So it's like, it was really me like trying to like feel like I'm not, but looking back now, I realized, oh, you know, Schondra, you were doing your thing. Don't be too hard on yourself. Right. But it's just realizing that, you know, just prioritizing my time and really figuring out a balance of work, life, blogging, all of that. So, Yeah.
I'm still laughing that you forgot. Just
Yeah, because I started thinking about the conversation I had with that person and all that stuff, and then lost what I was trying to say.
me too. Me too.
But it happens. It happens. We're human.
We getting old, Sandra. We getting old.
I feel it. And every
Nah.
time I go to my family's house, my sisters, they always making fun of me because I'm the oldest. I'm 26. Cheyenne, my sister under me, she's 25. And I have another sister that's 21. And I have another sister that's 19. And then I have a brother that's 14. So it's always, oh, girl, you damn near 30, girl. You better get it together.
Well,
I'm like, come on now.
Sandra, I've been getting that too. I'll be ready to pop one of my brothers in the throat.
I don't like that. No, I'm not 30 yet. Okay, 4 more years.
Well, for me, when October comes this year, it'll be 2 years for me. We ain't gonna talk about it. Don't say, "Oh, like it's sorry for my loss." Like what kind of?
I understand. I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. You still got 2 years, man. That's almost 900, 1,000 days.
Yo.
You think about it that way, it feels long, right?
1,000 days. Okay. 1,000 days. That do seem a lot, but my critical thinking has started dividing weeks and days and figure out like, yo, I actually got 2.5 years. Let me stop. No, I embrace it. It is what it is, but I'm gonna still be that youthful, older man. I'm gonna be that old man that's funny as hell. You know.
That's how I feel. I feel like, and another thing too is that I'm the oldest, but Cheyenne, people always think Cheyenne's older than me. They think that she's the oldest. So I'm like, I might look like a little kid, whatever, but this youth is gonna stay here for a while. So, I feel like my 30s. I don't know why, but I feel like my 30s. Like people are not. You're not gonna want to mess with me when I'm 30. I feel like I'm slowly getting there. As I said, late bloomer. So I'm slowly getting there. Still need a little time, but I feel like, when I hit 30, like it's done. So
the current. So I can kind of totally agree. I feel like 30 is that like I think I got everything that I need to mold the individual that I'm the man, let's say, and it's time to what she said. Who said was El Carter? But we're gonna switch it around. That's the day I put on my foot on people's necks. That's what.
Right.
30, come on, 30. And I got a little salt and pepper up in here. Oh, it's a wrap.
30, dirty 30.
Oh.
Who said that on Instagram? Who was saying that? It was Tiana Taylor's daughter. Did you see that video where she was like dirty 30, dirty 30? I don't know why that stuck in my head.
I seen something else where her daughter did something. It's something that she shocked her mom about. I forgot what it was, but
I think that was that Bow Wow's daughter when they was doing the challenge, the Shiesty challenge.
Nah, her daughter was repeated something she said, and Tiana was like shocked from hearing. I don't know. Anyway,
they posting a lot of stuff. We got off topic a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna look for it and send it to you. Sandra, outside of excuse me, let me get my voice together. Outside of Sneakvibing, do you do freelance like blogging for artists too as well?
So that's the funny part. You brought that up. The last few months, I've been getting more people reaching out to me to do artist bios for them. So that's something that I wasn't even like looking at because have suggested charge to for specifically for when I'm blogging, they'll be like charge to write about this artist or whatever, and I'm like, no, the point of Sneakvibing is for me to like reach out and get artists who I see. I feel like I have a certain understanding and awareness of the music community and
Yeah,
who I can see like projectile, who I can see really moving or has something very unique about them. So that's
yeah,
what I really want to have sneak vibing for. I don't want it to become a thing where pay me to do this or pay me to promote, because I've gotten that a lot. And then I lose my genuine voice. I lose my
mm,
credibility when I do that. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do that. And I don't want it to really be big. I love money. Okay.
right.
Money cometh. Let me manifest this right now. Money cometh. But at the same time, right? At the same time, I don't want it to be where I'm basically writing about artists that pay me, because then I don't have a genuine voice. And
Right.
what if I feel like their music maybe doesn't fit a certain thing, or you know what I mean? So, but um, opportunities have opened up with me freelance writing for the Challenger. They pay me to do those writing things, and other people pay me to write about certain things. So that's exciting. And then recently with artists reaching out for artist bios, like now that's something separate from sneak vibing, which has opened up recently. So and then I've been hearing a lot about electronic press kits, and
Yeah, EPK.
one person reached out to me about that, and I'm like, I really don't even know what that is. But then I was looking it up and doing a little research, and I'm like, that's kind of in my field. So I'm like, if I
Yeah.
can I can do that. Like I'm capable of doing that. So it just shows me that there's so many applications to my gift and my talent and what I can do. So I'm really just being staying open minded to all the opportunities that are coming my way. So yeah.
Man, that's amazing. Uh, that's super amazing, and I would love for when the time is right, for sure. Maybe we can have a definitely conversation. I would love to even talk about you coming on. Helping with the team, helping us. Structuring that
Oh yeah.
aspect. I think I have to admit that's something that we could be definitely stronger in, especially about that. I have the way I will write is continue to be in this graduate level type of typing. Like I can't I kind of lose the essence of the story in a sense, where I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of trying to be too literal or too like da, 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 da. I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
higher education field that to kind of help you get a better understanding how I can
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I can story tell by talking. That's my strong suit. But on paper, I can kind of cut you out through email professionally.
Per
But
my last email. You know. Yeah. I know how
um,
that is.
but yeah, Sandra, I think you really help uh, brighten brighten up the spotlight on the artist when you write. So even EPK aspect, I think that's a good point. And then also, what about like freelancing to other blogs, like using your writing, writing up, or is that what would I say? That's more like PR, would you say, right? Um,
You mean like
yeah.
if other people would pay me to like write they have like content writers. So there's a lot of positions where people pay you to pay a writer to write about content, and they basically need just writers to push out content about all different type of topics. And I've thought about that, and that's probably something I will do in the future. It's just I'm still trying to figure out like my workload and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
something definitely that might be an opportunity that I could take advantage of. And that's always going to be, I feel like, an open position. People always need content writers like BuzzFeed and all that. And
Yeah.
I have done a couple applications. Like I applied for Genius and applied for Complex, obviously the big ones and stuff like that. And I just try to keep hope alive every time I apply, see what happens. But I feel like God's timing is everything.
Come on.
Like even so far, everything that's happened in the last 2 years. It's crazy to think that I really started pushing this late 2018. So 2019, 2020, it's really only been a couple years. And like the fact that people that I admire know me, or people DM me and reach out that I didn't even think was looking at me are looking at me.
Come
So it just
on.
lets me know like people are watching, like just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. So that's really what I'm doing right now. But I'm sure as time passes by, more opportunities and more things will happen to help me elevate and grow and mature. So it's an exciting road, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep going, and try to do the right thing and my purpose.
And look how God continued to manifest, the things around you. I keep on telling
Yeah.
one of my favorite scripture is John 13:7. He says, I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not saying everything, but he said,
I do it
Jesus.
all the time.
Yeah, okay. Jesus replied and said, "You may not know what I'm doing now; you would know later." And I continue to
Right.
remind myself that because especially 2020 was definitely difficult, and I
Yeah.
continue to try to remind myself that okay, just continue to persevere, continue to get through it, and continue to get through it. And soon enough, you're gonna see the reason why you have to go through this situation in order to get to where you need to go. And I have to be
Yeah.
okay with that. Situation happened early, I would say later in 2020, where business wise, it had to move differently, and it was challenging for it to do so. But you start second guessing yourself and things like that. But I kept on reminding myself of that scripture, like it's not bad blood, it's no disrespect. It's just God has something else coming, and if I continue to put that fire in my bones and continue that motivation and continue my passion in the business, the love of you talk about the love of writing. I have this love and passion of business music business. I just love it. I
Mhm.
love being
Yeah.
the being the behind the scenes, being able to connect this, connect that, build that relationship, keep those relationships, be able to use networking opportunity to help manifest somebody else dream. I love that. I love
Yeah.
connecting dots if I'm able to. I love helping those who have even who have a budget or don't have a budget. I love being able to do that.
It's like a challenge. Yeah.
It's a challenge. And you spoke how you just started in 2018. Officially, really, me and Kemon started in 2017, but we really started to do it, really kind of pushing. I would say a little bit more in 2018. So we fairly knew ourselves. Been doing this since college, but really put it in the LLC in 2018, and that's when we knew that it was definitely time. And
Yeah.
but two things before you wrap up. One of my first thing is, what type of advice would you give somebody who's trying to pursue something similar to what you're doing?
Ooh. Um, I would say really figure out your voice. Figure out um, where your passion meets a need. I think I kind of stumbled upon that, but in such a great way, poetic way. So I would say really whatever you're passionate about. Really try to use your passion in a way that it helps people and suits people. Um, and um, just really stay focused, stay diligent. I feel like it's the those basic things that people say all the time is just keep working, stay consistent with it, and just if it's something you're passionate about, just keep going, let it get better and better, and I promise you, people will see that, and people will want to reach out to you, connect with you, and things like that. And I feel like specifically in the music business, one thing I kind of wanted to harp on too is that
Yeah.
the one of the things I admire about music, and I think that really pushed me with Sneakvibing, is I admire the personalities in music. I admire Charlemagne the God, Ebro,
Mhm.
Angie Martinez, Big Boy in the Neighborhood from LA. Like, I admire these people. Even though he gets on my last nerves, Joe Budden, Nadeska, like even sometimes DJ Academics, rarely, but these personalities, they've literally created a platform by sharing their opinions and getting conversations out of artists that most people usually can't. Love the fact that they found a way to bring their passion about music as a fan, but and with the education of music and really knowing the industry, and then creating a platform to really share that information with everybody else. And the one thing I think needs, specifically if it's a female writer or a lady personality, is that there are not a lot of women, female personalities in hip hop music, and I think that needs to change. I think part of the reason why the industry is so fickle now is because, not to no man bashing at all, but I think when you have a lot of older men running it, and then you also have a lot of younger men, and there's egos and disconnection happening there, then sometimes we lose the magic and the spark from hip hop music, and just any music genre in general. And I feel like women like Scotty Beam, women like Nadeska, even Angie Martinez to a certain level is holding it down. These voices, like they're the I feel like they're some of the strongest voices, really providing amazing commentary, way more than surface level, in music. And I feel like that's just needed more. And I feel like women in music always don't have to be moderators either. I think that's another big issue, is that I see a lot of women become moderators or just a cute face to host, and I'm like, no, but we have opinions and perspectives, and especially with the boom of like female hip hop artists and rappers, we need that, because part of the issue is that you have a lot of these male voices, and sometimes they can't fully identify with the perspectives of these women, and I've seen that on so many levels. So I'm really pushing just women in music in general. I think we really need that, and specifically in hip hop music, and specifically Black women in hip hop music being the personality. So that was a long-winded answer, but yeah.
No. I think that's important. I think it's truly important to have that support, that connectedness in the women community alone. And everything you said was valid. It's a male dominated industry, but the really heads up are white men. But that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah.
yes, dominant. And I totally agree with you. And from what I see is, I think from what I see, it seemed like the women coalition, or the women in music business, are really, once you in, they're going to kind of protect you in a way. They're going to build that community around you. And one of my favorite managers is actually a female, and her name is Key Henderson, and she's 21 Savage manager. And what's crazy is she actually started kind of as a vlogger at Complex, and then life changed and moved differently, and she worked with another artist, and lo and behold, she ended up managing 21 Savage, and here she is, known for being the best managers out there. And she came to Buffalo in 2018, I believe, for this panel. One of the founders of Love Renaissance, who signed Black, Summer Walker. We say?
Oh, I said okay. Yeah, I think I know they have some connections to Buffalo.
Yeah, Justin, that's his name. Justice, excuse me. And then Sean Barron. That's when I found out that there's somebody that is from Buffalo that's an A&R executive at a major label, to be at that. So that was
like I recently found out about him through the Challenger, because the Challenger wrote about him. So like he's another amazing person that I really want to get to know, and hopefully in the future I'll be able to interview him, because I'm sure he has a strong perspective and a lot of great experience just about the music business, and maybe partially about the music business in Buffalo too.
No, that's a fact right there. And to wrap up, how I normally do it, Sandra, I'm not too sure you've seen the other check-ins, is I always give the individual their flowers. I'm sorry, there won't be no flowers being sent to your house, or no physical flowers. In the sense of giving your gratitude while you're live and kicking and screaming, rather than when you're 6 feet under. I don't believe in doing that. I'd rather give it to you now. It's genuine. I don't like to. I always tell the person that I'm checking in with that just know that my flowers are genuine. The reason why I reached out is genuine appreciation of you, the individual craft that you do, or the human that you are. So you don't need to have, guiding us to the moon for me to check in. I think you as an individual, as a person, and someone who's in the space with me in the entertainment space, I appreciate the relationship that we have created so thus far.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're,
Really appreciate it.
I think you're genuine. I think you're one of Buffalo's best kept secret as of now. I think over the next 3 years, you're definitely
I'm a Cancer, so don't make me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You gotta let me finish. I think the next 3 years is definitely you're gonna tap into something that you didn't think you was capable of tapping into, but like I said, God always got a plan, and He laughs at those who think they got a plan for themselves. So, and just lastly, you're just a great human. I think so. I enjoy, even from not really knowing me too well, and then inviting you to my house for a listening party. It's just like you showed up, and you was
also I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but thank you for that, because that blew me away. I'm like, and I know you said we met at Love the Genius. We met at Love the Genius listening party.
That's the listening party I was talking about. That was the best listening party I've been to with the chef.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. For some reason, every time I try to go back to that moment, I don't know if I just blacked out, but there's a couple people from there that said they met me there, and I'm like, I didn't even drink or really eat anything. I'm like, why can I probably was so nervous. That's why I was really nervous to go to that event. But even that, but going back, let me stay on the topic here. Thank you for inviting me to that listening party. Also, just getting to know like Cookie, and I saw a couple familiar faces. Like I knew of Morrow, so I met him for the first time there. There was somebody else there that I knew of, but I got to see her again. So that was just an exciting moment, and I really appreciate that. And let me know like who you are. Oh, I saw Tia there. I know she's your family.
Yeah.
So we went to Sweet Home High School together. We used to have history together. So yeah, so I appreciate you for just reaching out to me, because you were a great person to like know and develop a relationship with. So yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you. And then even outside conversation, I think you just saying like as a manager, you appreciate that, that it's some humanness to me, rather than be like, hello, Schondra, this needed to be like. Now I did appreciate that comment, and again I appreciate the continue to support my playlist. Thank you. I appreciate that. I truly I appreciate that. I'll be searching for a whole week, and then I sit down on a Sunday morning early and go through my songs, and I gotta pick 20. It's hard as hell.
Man, you challenge me. Like when I listen to your playlist, you really challenge me to listen. And I'm sure we can have this conversation another day, but long story short, I'm still like really learning to listen to R&B music. And I think that's another thing that I'm working on, where like some R&B music, like, I don't know, it could be hard for me to listen to it, but if you choose it, I'm like, okay, Ian choose this. And I know he has good quality in the ear. You have good quality music there. So I always try to listen to it through, and it really has opened my eyes to a lot. Sometimes you have to let something sit and listen to it a couple of times for you to really like grasp it. So it's really opened my eyes to just like really accepting the music, because I think sometimes music hits on a personal level and it's like but I love your playlist always, when I see familiar songs, but also when I see songs I never heard of, and you have them from different genres. So it's always exciting to like, okay, Ian updated his playlist, let me check this out. I always remind myself too, like I might wait like the last day, but I try to get to it and listen to all the songs, because I appreciate people that make playlists, because I make playlists and sometimes people don't listen to them. No. So when other people make playlists, I'm like, okay, I want to listen to them. I want to like because you get to know who people are when you listen to their music. So that's another exciting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to, and even going back to our conversation, and then we can wrap up about even just college. That's when I knew it was like more people like me. I'm like, there's people that listen to all different type of music.
Right.
I was the odd one. I was really the odd one in a sense. But yeah, I love music, and you made a good point when you talk about sometimes it can resonate personally, and music hit me in so different type of aspects. The lyrics can speak to me, or the lyrics don't, but the music, the vibration of the music itself
Right.
speaks to me. Like, oh, the way he just started, or he or she just started a song, like, oh, and then my boys will tell you, if I'm really into a song, really trying to listen, if my head is like this and my eyes is closed. Because what I'm using is nothing but my ears. And I
Right.
lock in. Hence why in the ear. More, it's other things behind it. It's my initials too,
Yeah.
but we can talk about it later. But
Works for you. You were born for it.
yeah. But no, I really appreciate your support for real, because like you said, I wish, you know, I'm happy that, people are listening rather than because I just made a playlist 50. So I just been doing this consistently last year, a little bit more consistently, and like, yo, I have nothing else to do. So give me something to wake up during quarantine. I mean, not quarantine, pandemic.
Hmm.
But anywho, I'll wrap up with this. One of my sayings, because you spoke about people looking at you and you didn't know they was looking at you, or looking up to you, or looking at you, or looking for you. One of my saying is, continue to be great and continue to inspire, because you never know who is looking up to you or looking at you for inspiration. And I think you're the embodiment of my saying, because I think you may not know where you're going, but you know that there's a path to get to where you're going, and you continue to walk that path and walk into your truth. I really truly appreciate the conversation, especially when you talk about having difficulty with identities, because I think we all go through it. I think a lot of Black folks go through it, especially if they come from a place where they don't speak in, let's say, Ebonics or the ways that other people speak. But best believe I can code switch. I can meet you where you at.
Right. Right.
Because listen, I'm from the east side of Buffalo. I mean, Niagara Falls, and it may not seem scary to you, but I may have degrees, but I will somebody up.
Right. Niagara Falls get jiggy. I heard of y'all. I heard of y'all.
Niagara Falls,
Hmm.
you heard it. Again, appreciate you, Sandra. And until next time, I
Of
hope to
course.
work with you in the future more often.
Oh, of
And
course.
absolutely. Be blessed and be great.
All right.